What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we got ourselves another one of those VTOL aircraft. It is a vertical takeoff and landing type of aircraft. So as you can see, it is standing straight up. You can take off vertically like this, or you can also take off horizontally as well. This is the XK X420. It is the smaller version of their other VTOL aircraft, which I have done a review on. It is the XK X520. Now this one, very similar. Everything looks almost identical, slightly smaller in scale. We also get a smaller remote control as well. It comes with brushed motors, and it also comes with these prop guards for protection of the propellers. Now on the XK X520, it comes with brushless motors. It's got a lot more power than this one here. That one did not come with these prop guards, so when you landed wrong, you did damage the props because it digs into the ground and such and stuff like that. So they done us a favor in saving ourselves with the agony of damaged props with this prop guard. So that is really nice. It is a good addition to this type of aircraft. Now it came unassembled. All you got to do is put these prop guards on. There's a couple of screws to attach. These side wings, you just clip it on, and this tail wing also, you just clip it on, and you are ready to go. And if you look on the bottom here, there is a battery bay. Just open it up, and the battery that they provide you with is a 7.4 volt 500 milliamp size battery. Now I'm not sure about the flight time on this thing because I've already taken it up in the air, and I tested it out yesterday, and just to see how it behaves before I actually do the review video of this aircraft. And there is an aircraft flying right across our field there. Yeah, it looks kind of like the one that always flies around here. Not sure why he flies this way all the time, but maybe that's a personal aircraft. That is pretty nice. Anyways, back to our remote control aircraft. So I'm not sure how long of a flight time is with this thing. I did go up vertically, took off, and you can control it like a regular quadcopter, which is just amazing. You can yaw, you can roll, you can pitch forward and backwards and all that stuff while it's in the vertical mode. And flick of a switch, with this flick of a switch, you go from vertical mode to horizontal mode, and from horizontal mode back to vertical mode, just like that. And with this trim button, the throttle trim button, you can take off, one key to take off, and it's supposed to land as well. I haven't tried it out, and the reason why I haven't tried out any of the other functions, and also if you depress the throttle stick, you change speeds, and if you depress the pitch and roll stick, you go into the 3D mode from the 6G stabilized mode. So you can go from stabilized mode to acro mode, and that is what it is. There's a photo video button that does not work because this one, although has a little area where you can put the camera, it did not come with one. I guess you could purchase it afterwards when they are available to purchase. But really, you really can't use this camera because it angles downwards and you get a lot of ground view, so it is not really a good camera to purchase. Maybe you could just put an all-in-one VTX mounted on the top and do some FPV and catch some videos that way. I did the same thing like that with the bigger brother, the XK X520, and it did just fine. You could do loops in acro mode and all that. But back to yesterday's initial test flight. I've flown it vertically for maybe about a minute, and I did the horizontal, and I did that for about a couple of minutes, and it just fell out of the sky just like that. It just, the power just cut off on this thing, and it did a nosedive straight down, and it broke right here. I don't know if you can see that in this video, but there's a little hairline fracture going across right here, which I had to hot glue back. All it took was a little bit of hot glue, and it glued itself back. So today I'm going to retry and fly this thing, and hopefully it doesn't just fall out of the sky once again. So I brought it back to the table. I didn't have any video turned on. Sorry, I didn't have any video. I cannot show you the nosedive that it did, but believe me, it did, and I did glue it back. Now, after I brought it back to the table without the nose, I put the battery back in there, and I tried to fly it again to see whether or not the battery was at fault, and it wasn't. It did power back up, and it did want to fly again. And so it wasn't the complete fault of the battery. Now, I'm not sure what the C value of this, C rating value of this battery is. It is a 7.4 volt 500 milliamp. It doesn't say how many C's on here, but perhaps maybe it was insufficient at the time. It drained out the battery and it just disconnected and got a little power failure momentary, and it gained it back, and I was able to restart it. But it is something to take note of when you try this out yourself, or if you get this yourself. Maybe you might want to up the battery C rating on this one and change it to some other battery. But we'll try it one more time today and see if the same thing happens. Hopefully it does not. So I'm going to cut it a little bit short just in case. I'm not going to full throttle this thing and waste out the battery like I did yesterday. All right, so let's go for a little demo flight with the XK X420. All right, so here we go. The aircraft is powered up. So there's a LED light in the back of the aircraft, and it is a red LED light, and it is just continuing to blink. So I'm going to turn on the remote control and up and down on the throttle. So the light is solid now, so we are paired. So what we are going to do is both sticks to the bottom and to the left. We'll calibrate the gyros. So you do this while the aircraft is in a vertical position. All right, so it's going to act like a quadcopter. All right, so both sticks to the bottom and out will arm the motors, and if you just hold the throttle down, it will disarm the motor. So let's check it out. There you go, arming the motors, and holding the throttle all the way down will disarm the motor. So one more time, and let me raise the throttle just a little bit to about midpoint. It still does not take off yet, so we are armed, ready to go. So I'm going to raise the throttle up beyond halfway, and there you go. That is one way to take off, manually take off. And check it out: right roll, left roll, forward pitch, and rear pitch, just like a quadcopter. And check out the yaw, left yaw and right yaw. So that is so cool. You can fly this thing just like this, like a quadcopter. You can probably fly this thing indoors, as a matter of fact. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it down and see if I can land it. So that's where the prop guards come into play here. On the 420, when you landed it, it kind of fell backwards. I'm not going to be able to land on the landing pad, I don't think. So I'm just going to go ahead and just bring it down and see if I can manually land it just in the grass. And hopefully, there you go, holding the throttle all the way down, motor shut off. All right, so it fell forward, which is a good thing, but sometimes it falls backward and you can damage the tail wing. And if it did not have the prop guards, the props will just dig into the dirt. So they have prevented that from happening with this model. All right, so I'm going to grab it back here and put it back on the table, and we're going to try the 1 key to take off by just pressing this throttle trim button up. It arms the motors, but it didn't take off. Let me see. Nope, it didn't take off. Let me go ahead and arm the motors manually and throttle up halfway, and then press the button. There you go, 1 key to take off. So that is how you use the 1 key to take off. And look, I'm flying it like it's a quadcopter, which is so cool. All right, now as I recall, the XK X520 had a terrible time trying to land. You couldn't get it to come down after you've been flying horizontally, and then you hit that switch to go vertical, and then you want to bring it down. So you have to kind of fly low horizontally with a lower altitude, and then hit that button to go to vertical mode, and then you could bring it down. So let's see 1 kilo land. And there you go, 1 kilo land. I'm on a forward pitch. Oh, hey, look at that. It just landed, and it stuck its landing vertically, so that is pretty cool. I'm going to take off from this spot right here. All right, so both sticks to the bottom and out. Arms the motors, 1 kilo take off. Oops. Arm the motors, you got to put your throttle halfway up at least. And then hit that button. Oh, it fell over, and I am unable to take off horizontally because of all this grass. So let me take it back to the table and do it correctly from the table. All right, so hopefully it doesn't fall out of the sky like it did yesterday. All right, so arming the motors, throttling up, 1 kilo take off, and let me help it out with some throttle. There you go. Okay, I had to really throttle up to get it up in the air, and right now it is slightly above 50%, maybe about 60-70%. So there you go. It is in stabilized mode. Okay, let me try to dual rates. Okay, so I got dual rates on this thing, so it is a little bit more responsive, and I gotta throttle up all the way for it to just hover in one place. All right, so let me go back down to lower mode, and let's do some horizontal, hitting this button. And there you go, we can fly it like a fixed wing now. I'm gonna stay relatively low in altitude, guys, because I don't want it to fall and crack itself like it did yesterday, because I was fairly high up. So there you go, you can fly this thing pretty nicely, and if you leave the throttle just like that, you are able to just control it with a roll. You can make that turn with that roll. Let me throttle up a little bit. Yeah, so I'm turning left with just the roll, and I'm turning right with just the roll. Flies really nice. All right. And you can also bank it with some yaw as well. So you can bank turn this thing. Check it out. I'm using both sticks to turn, and you can make a tighter radius turn. So pretty nice flyer. Now I'm not gonna check out the acro mode because I'm not used to this aircraft, and I'm afraid that it might just fall out of the sky. So here we go. I'm gonna hit that button to go horizontal or vertical now from horizontal, and as you can see, I'm throttling all the way down, but it does not want to come down. See that? So this one has the same problem. Like, oh, and it just came down. Oh, there you go. See what I mean? It just fell out of the sky. And I can see that my nose is cracked again. Yeah. So there you go. That's the behavior of this XK X420. And let's look at the damage here. Okay, so the cabin cover came off. I also glued the cabin cover on there to help stabilize it a little bit more. Nothing else looks broken except the same spot. This is the same spot that it broke yesterday. So, oh, it did bend the battery bay plastic as well this time around. Yesterday it just came right off. So it broke in a different spot today. There's the hairline fracture right here from yesterday's fall. So today there's a new hairline fracture. So the glue did its job, but today unfortunately it took the plastic housing with it. So I'm going to call it and I'm going to unplug the battery now. So powering off. So there you have it, guys. My test flight and review of the XK X420. So be careful, land this thing before you think the time is up, or whenever the throttle becomes a little sluggish at all. Right now my throttle did not even get sluggish, so it was just hovering there vertically, and I was trying to bring it down, but it didn't want to do that. So it has the same problem once you go from horizontal to vertical, it goes up in altitude and it has a terrible time trying to come back down, and it lost power. It cut off. The battery is a little bit warm, so I'm going to take it back to the table and then see and show you without recharging the battery at all, and show you that it does power back up. Alright, so let's go back to the table. Alright, so I got my inverter hooked up with the hot glue, so I'm going to take it one step further and I'm going to fix the broken section of the aircraft and glue it back together and put that same battery back on there and see if we can do a little bit more flying. Alright, here we go. Everything is put back together. So as you can see, it looks pretty good, but I can see the fracture line, both of the fractures actually, but we are able to put it back together with the help of some glue, with a hot glue gun out in the field with an inverter. So yeah, so lesson learned today, always carry your hot glue gun with an inverter. Alright, so let's go ahead and stick this battery. I have not recharged the battery yet, so we're going to stick it back in here and power this thing up again, just to see if this battery was at fault here. That little black tip came off. That is fine. I'll just stick it back in. Which way is it? Yeah, I got it the right way. There you go. Powered it back on and put in the battery cover, and we still got that red light blinking away, so let's leave it right here. Yeah, put this in my pocket. Okay, turning on the remote, up and down on the throttle, and we got solid light again. Alright, so here we go with the same battery. Let's go ahead and arm the motors, or let me calibrate the gyros. Both sticks to the bottom and left. There you go, calibrated, and now we are good to go. Arming the motors. There you go, see, it arms, and let me see if I can take off. I am full throttling and you are able to take off, but it is a little sluggish. So what I think it is the C rating on this battery is not powerful enough to sustain continuous flight with this aircraft. Right, I'm not going to take any more chances. I'm going to go ahead and bring it down for a landing. Right, so let me go ahead and hit that landing button and see if I can stick that landing. Oh no, I fell forward. All right, so there you go, guys. The XK X420, the vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Everything works good. Oh, look at that. The light in the back is blinking. So it is the battery that is depleted. So you don't really have a lot of flight time with the battery that was provided. So just fly for about, I would have to say, what, I'll measure how long I've flown and the amount of time that I've flown until it fell out of the sky, and you know, subtract maybe about at least 30 seconds, perhaps 1 minute from that flying time duration, and bring it in and safely land it and recharge the battery, or get yourself a better battery with higher C rating with this aircraft. Alright, so that is it for now, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you again next time.